Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There's just two things before we proceed to the new sabak. I want to show you the translation of something here. Turn to that long hadith on the authority of An Abdullah ibn Mas'udin. You find that hadith, An Abdullah ibn Mas'udin. Yeah, I just want to show you something. There it says, okay, let's say this here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَيَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ الْدَبَرَةَ عَلَيْهِمْ, right? So Allah Ta'ala will make a victory upon them. In other words, they will lose the war. You found it, man, right? فَيَقْتَتِلُونَ مَقْتَلًا. There was such a fighting. لَمْ يُرَ مِثْلُ هَذَا. Such a fighting will never be seen before in the history of mankind, right? Right? لَا يَمُرُّ بِجَنَبَاتِهِمْ. That in the طائرة لا يمر بجنباتهم, that verily a bird will pass with his wings. فلا يخلفهم. He will not leave them behind. He will not pass over them. He will not be able to pass over them. Right? حتى يخر ميتا, until it will fall down dead. As I told you, because it will be such a long, such a huge area that the corpse will be covering. The next one is this one here. فَيُتَعَادُ بَنُو الْأَبِي. The children of a father will be counted. Like one group of, like one group of people will be counted. That's our better way to translate it. Right? كانوا مئة فلا يجدون بقي منهم إلا الرجل الواحد. Well, right? They will find that only one from a whole group, a whole clan, only one person remain. فبأي غنيمة يفرح. What, right? Okay, that was pretty simple, all of that. Right? وبأي ميراث يقسم. What in it will be, right? فبينما هم كذلك إذ سمعوا ببأس وأكبر من ذلك فجاءهم الصريخ إن الدجال قد خلفهم. Dajjal. So khalafa here means like appeared, right? Khalafa means to be a deputy there. So it means to appear somebody, right? في ذراريهم. That is يا منقوصة نه. إن حالة رفع إن حالة الجر doesn't show نه. اسمها في ذراريهم. فيرفضون ما في أيديهم ويقبلون فيبعثون عشر فوارس طليعة. This is what I want to show you. طليعة means like as a reconnaissance mission. طليعة normally refer to, like normally in the army, you have what you say, like the reconnaissance, what they call in our term, they call it the recce. The reconnaissance people, what they do is, like, they go up ahead and see that the road is clear. So, you don't just, the army doesn't just march because they can march into an ambush. Everybody, so they first go and see, they go check on the mountain, check everything is clear, and then the army come. Because imagine the whole army is caught in an ambush, you see what I'm saying? So they check. So this is called, so Tali'atun means like a reconnaissance. They will be sent to this. فَيَبْعَثُونَ عَشْرَ فَوَارِسَ طَلِيعَةً. They will be sent as a reconnaissance mission to see what is happening, that the Dajjal really emerge. And then we've done this in several hadith also, that it will be found that the Dajjal did not emerge, right? So this one, right, okay, that covers everything there, most, inshallah, we've got all the translation right there. Okay, we can read a new hadith, inshallah. Come closer, read loud.
وعن ابي هريره رضي الله تعالى عنه ان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يكن بمدينه منها بل ذلك منها في البحر. قالوا نعم يا رسول الله. كل ساعه حتى يرسمنا 70,000 من الجريمه فاذا جاءوها فلم يقاتلوا بالسلاح ولم يرموا بسهم. قالوا فيسكت أحد جانبيها. قال
شاني بيها, because this فيسقط أحد is مضاف مضاف إليه. So the noon of tasniya drops off, ne? So فيسقط أحد جانبيها. Okay, let's look at the riwayat. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. وعن أبي هريرة, narrated أثر أبو هريرة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, that Nabi saying, هل سمعت بمدينة. Now this also is a miracle. This is a miracle. Look, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't live but he didn't leave Medina much. After he came to Medina, he only went once to Tabuk. Remember that battle for the Romans, but the Romans didn't push up. Other than that, the Bishop never really traveled. He never traveled. So he's saying, did you hear about a town? It's a city. Janibu minha fil barri. Right? One side faces the ocean. You translate it literally, one side is in the ocean. One side faces the ocean. وَجَانِبٌ مِنْهَا فِي sorry, barri means the land. One side of it faces the land. وَجَانِبٌ مِنْهَا فِي الْبَحْرِ. And one side, as you translate literally, means is in the ocean. One face the ocean. قالوا نعم Sahaba said, yes, we heard about this, right? Obviously, those days, there wasn't traveling, there wasn't TV, there wasn't pictures. So they heard that, there's a city like this, it's such a beautiful city, etc. قالوا نعم يا رسول قال لا تقوم الساعة حتى يغزوها 70,000 من بني إسحاق. So Nabi Sallallahu was saying that the final hour, Qiyamah will not come حتى يغزوها 70, until 70,000 from the Bani Ishaq, they will fight this town. They will conquer this town, or they will lay siege to this town, whatever. Then Nabi Sallam goes on. So Bani Ishaq, remember Banu Ismail was who? Was the children of the Arabs of Banu Ismail, and they were the Muslims. And Banu Ishaq was the other son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. This was who? This was the Ahlul Kitab, right? So it could be the Jews or the Christians, right? فَإِذَا جَاءُوهَا. So when the Muslims come to this town, نَزَلُوا, they will descend. فَلَمْ يُقَاتِلُوا بِسَلَاحٍ. They will not fight with any type of weapons. وَلَمْ يَرَمُوا بِسَهْمٍ. Neither will they discharge or release any arrows. قَالُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. They will say, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. They will make the takbir. Wallahu Akbar. And say Allahu Akbar. So this takbir, subhanAllah, is a very, very important thing. You don't underestimate it. If somebody's fighting with you, and non-Muslim, you start making takbir, I tell you, you send shivers down that person's spine. So yes, in the battlefield, it was a very, very in the time of Sahaba Ikram. And obviously, when Sahaba Ikram, etc., when they said it, it came from their heart. When we say it comes from our tongue, it only comes from our tongue, because we are spiritually dead. We are spiritual. Imagine people who are brimming with Iman, when they sound out the takbir, subhanAllah. So they will say, La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. فَيَسْقُطُ أَحَدُ جَانِبَيْهَا. So then one of his two sides will fall. So in other words, this takbir will have such an effect that they can say that I would say that the defenses will fall. The defenses will fall. قال ثور بن يزيد الراوي, in one of the ruwat along the way, we don't know where if you probably find this riwayat in Muslim, you'll find exactly where on the chain is. He says, لا أعلم إلا قال الذي في البحر. لا أعلمه. I can't remember it, except that I think he said الذي في البحر. So that the first place that will be conquered will be this place from the ocean. Right? But okay, I want to tell you afterwards, but I'll tell you now. So that if you look at here in the riwayat, in the Shara, it mentions just this could either refer to Constantinople or some other town, and it'll give you the reasons there. But the reason why I'm telling you before the time here is, if you go, inshallah, one day Allah Ta'ala will take you to Turkey, inshallah, you will see it is surrounded. On one side is the ocean, and on the other side is a river. So you got a river running into the ocean, and so this is situated between the river and the ocean. It is situated between the river. So basically, you can say from two sides or three sides is covered with water, and then from the back, from the land, there is a large land mass from the back. So if you want to attack, you have to attack from the ocean side. That's why it's so difficult. For hundreds of years, it was impregnable. Nobody could attack it. Nobody could. So until Muhammad al-Fatih came, and he came with it in genuine idea, where he brought the ships over the river. But anyway, the point that I want to make here is, look here, he said, Nabi Sallallahu says with the takbir, illa qala alladhi fil bahri. The first place that will fall is from the ocean side. And here, if you look at Muhammad al-Fatih, they came from the ocean side. They conquered from the ocean side. So it could refer to that even. يقول الثانية لا إله إلا الله. We'll say the second time, لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. فيسقط الجانب الآخر. The other side will then collapse, it will give way. ثم يقول الثالثة لا إله إلا الله أكبر. فيفرج لهم, it will be open for them, فيدخلون, they will enter, فيغنمون, غنم يغنمون, they will amass a large amount of booty, فبينما هم يقتسمون المغانم, whilst they are busy distributing the booty as per the sunnah, إذ جاءهم الصريخ, then a shout, a cry will come, فقال إن الدجال قد خرج, the Dajjal has made his appearance, فيتركون كل شيء, they will leave everything, ويرجعون, and they will return, رواه مسلم. Now from the other riwayat, remember we said that the first information that will come that Dajjal is as emerged, this will be false information. Even in fact the previous hadith we told you there, that we said, Nabi Sallallahu said, we said ويقبلون فيبعثون عشر فوارث طليئة, قال رسول الله إني لأعرف أسماءهم. Remember, so I was telling you that because if you look at Constantinople, which is extremely beautiful, they used to call it like the bride of Europe, the bride of Europe. It is all surrounded by three sides from water. Some ulama say that this refers to Constantinople, and today it's called Istanbul, right? Some ulama say no, it does not refer to that. And the reason why I say it doesn't refer to Constantinople is because see here, it says here that there will be no fighting. This place will be conquered with the takbir. In other words, when these Muslims come and they will call the takbir out with such sincerity and such vigor that the non-Muslims will be paralyzed with fear. They will be paralyzed with fear. So it doesn't really show. That's why they say no, Constantinople there was some type of fight. In fact, the history is quite interesting. When Muhammad al-Fatih as a young boy, he obviously heard the hadith that speaks about the virtue of it. Ni'am al-Amir wa Ni'am al-Jaysh. As a young boy, he grew up dreaming that perhaps he'll be the one that that Nabi spoke about. So he employed the best cannon maker from Europe. I think it was from Germany. Because he knew about those high walls, those strong walls, impregnable walls, everything. So he employed the best cannon maker. And this is how they got through. So they built this huge cannon by which they blasted holes through this wall. If you go there, you'll see those walls even today. Inshallah, Allah take you. You'll see those walls there, how they blasted their way through. So they say, no, it can't refer to this. This is something else because there was cannon fire, etc. You understand what I'm saying? So, or if we say, remember the hadith also speaks about Constantinople or Istanbul being conquered for a second time. So it could refer to the second conquest, that will take place without any type of fighting. Right, so if we say it will refer to the second conquest, then it could refer to that. So yeah, in previous times, when war was very common, people would build, so to say, they would build like walls around the city, so to keep the enemies out. If you look at the Great Wall of China, this is one of the reasons. It was also built to keep the enemy from going. So from this, you see that it will have like a wall. They call it a moat, M-O-A-T. They have water so the people can't cross. So they will not find a way to enter except they will have this moat and this wall. And then the Mujahideen will give the takbir. And as a result of the takbir, a road will be open for them. You say the wall around it will break. So it could also mean that the walls, Allah Ta'ala, miraculously, it will break, but the war will take place in the city. And as I said, so if we say it refers to Constantinople, then we can say also something is going to happen in the future, which was also predicted, right? So this year, it says, حتى يغزوها 70,000 من بني إسحاق. What does mean is that 70,000 from the Ahl Kitab, they will join the Muslims in this conquest. That's what it means. Remember that now. It's not so clear in the Kitab. حتى يغزوها سبعون ألفا من بني إسحاق. What it means is you can even write it there. If I was you, I'll make a small note there in the Kitab because it's not so clear from the Ibadat in the text. The Shareef explains it. That 70,000 from the Banu Ishaq, yani from the Ahl Kitab, they will join the Muslimin. They will be part of the Muslim army. Right, are you with us? So this will be, so if we say this will be the second conquest of Constantinople, then remember, as we mentioned before, if you're following, this is from amongst the big signs, and this will be after the Malhamatul Kubra. Remember, we discussed the Malhamatul Kubra earlier. Remember that so many people will die, that the bird is flying over will die, right? I told you, Banu Ismail referred to the Arabs, Banu Ishaq referred to the Jews, and from the Jews you got the Christians, because remember Isa alayhi salam was also from among the Jews, remember that? But the Jews were not ready to accept him, right? And then so remember that. And it's mentioned here also that these people that will be in this army here will be from Sham, from Syria. And we know there are also Ahl Kitab in Sham, in Syria. And that's what I'm saying. So again, I told you before, I mentioned to you that we can see Syria, Sham, this will be the hotspot. And inshallah, we'll do also, inshallah, in the sabak about the Abdal, those pious servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those that are hidden, those that are concealed. They also come from Sham, they come from Syria, from those areas. So you can see that the choices, the best Muslims are from that area. And in fact, as we go through the Bab, you'll see you'll see there's a lot of virtue for the people of Syria. Then Nabi Sallallahu said at the end of times, the best place to go to when all these fitnas break out, when these fitnas break out, the best place to go to will be to Sham. And as I told you, that's the reason why there's so much interest in. Anyway, read the next hadith.
وعن معاذ بن جبل رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عمران بين الصف خراب يثرب وفراب يثرب خروج الملحمة وخروج الملحمة قسطنطينية وفتح قسطنطينية خروج الدجال رواه أبو داود.
Okay, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن معاذ بن جبل قال قال رسول الله عمران بيت المقدس خراب يثرب وخراب يثرب خروج الملحمة وخروج الملحمة فتح قسطنطينية وفتح قسطنطينية خروج الدجال رواه أبو داود. So very interesting hadith. Let's translate it and look at the explanation. The right authority of Mu'adh ibn Jamal, he said that Rasulullah said the Umran means you can say the habitation of Baitul Maqdis will be the destruction of Yathrib. Yathrib means Medina. وخراب يثرب, and the destruction of Medina will be خروج الملحمة, the emerging of the great battle. وخروج الملحمة, and the emerging or the occurring of the great battle will be the conquest of Constantinople. And the conquest of Constantinople will now signal the emergence of Dajjal, and Abu Dawud narrates this particular riwayat. So what he's saying is, currently we know that Baitul Maqdis is not in the hands of the Muslims. It's not in the hands of the Muslims. Am I right or wrong? In whose hands is it? It's in the hands of Yahud. So yeah, this saying here that when it comes back into the hands of the Muslims, this is going to be a major sign of Qiyamah, because see what's going to happen. So if Baitul Maqdis come back now in the hands of the Muslims, what does it tell you? If look, as I told you, you can only speculate and say that it refers to this event. Allah Ta'ala, Nabi mentioned things, and purposefully, Nabi Sam, he never, Nabi Sam, Allah Ta'ala could have given all the exact details and the dates, whatever. But certain types of information Nabi Sam kept behind certain, because Alladhina yu'minuna bil ghaib, to bring iman in the ghaib. If we had all the details and the specifics and we know exactly, then what is the purpose of iman bil ghaib? You understand what I'm saying? But now this came to my mind. So Umran basically means, if you translate it literally, it means the rehabilitation population. But we know obviously now it is in the hand of the Jews. So it means when it is fully habitated, when it is frequented, that means it will come back in the hands of the Muslims. So if we say that now it comes back in the hands of the Muslims, this is now a sign of if you look there, it's a sign of a few major events of Qiyamah. So it could be that it comes back in the hands, because remember, in between also it got lost to the Muslims, and then that was about 75 years or so, more or less. And then Salahuddin Ayyubi brought it back under the control of the Muslims. And then eventually it came to the hands of the Dawlat Uthmaniyah, and then it was lost again with the collapse of the Dawlat Uthmaniyah, the Balfour Declaration, the British, they gave it to they made a decision. It wasn't their land, but they made a decision that it must go to the Israel, to the Jews, etc. So as I told you, it could be, if it comes back in, it could be, or it could be further down the line. Only Allah Ta'ala knows best. That's why there's a hadith where the one we done this, I think, in the beginning of Mishkaat. The one Sahabi came and said, Mata sa'a, Ya Rasul, when is Qiyamah? Nabi said, Ma a'adadda laha. You worried about when is Qiyamah? What did you prepare for it? Did you make any preparations? Knowing when it is or exactly, that's okay. It's of no relevance if you haven't made preparation for it. It's of no relevance. In other words, what good amal did you do? What charity did you give? So exactly when it will be, as I say now, maybe if it come back in the hand of the Muslims, is it now the catalyst of these events that will result? And you look at the next hadith also. The next hadith will show you that once things start taking place here, then within 7 years, you get all the khuruj of the Dajjal. You understand what I'm saying? So whether it will be that, whether it will not be that, Allah Ta'ala knows best. But the main thing is, what preparation did you make? You want to now worry that, is this now, will the reconquesta of Baitul Maqdis, will it be the catalyst that will set off these events for Qiyamah? Will it not be? Yes, okay, it's good to speculate, but it's dangerous to fix dates in it, because you're going to do that, you're going to make up a fool of yourself. Because if that doesn't emerge, then you're going to be a fool. There was one alim. You were still young at that time. He was saying with certainty that 2000, and he took some hadith from Kitab al-Fitan. I can't remember his reasoning, but he worked out something, and he was saying with certainty, was going everywhere saying that 2010 the Mahdi is appearing. And he said, look, there's a hadith like this. He was giving all, but 2010, the Mahdi never come. So he went into hiding. The Mahdi never appeared, but he disappeared because now he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed because his prediction never manifested itself. So it's always dangerous to say, you can say it appears that maybe this is now going to happen. But to say with certainty, I say that this is going to happen now, and it don't happen, then you have to make, you will have to make ghaibu, but you have to disappear because you're embarrassing yourself. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, coming back to the hadith, I'm saying that it shows you that when Baitul Maqdis comes again under the complete control of the Muslims, how do we know? It could be thousands of years, even it could be even hundreds of years. Remember what the hadith say. The hadith say that only Qiyamah will come once there's no person to say Allah, 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 right? But you look at today, how many madrasas, how many people, Hafiz, ulama, etc. So Allah Ta'ala knows best, right? So Umran Bayt al-Maqdis, I told you, refer to when Baytul Maqdis is again populated, habitated. Here he speak, no, when something is habitated after its destruction, makes you think about how the Yahud, they desecrate Baytul Maqdis. When they go in there, they run in there with their boots and they fire their tear gas, how they disrespect it, so here it says, when it will be restore its complete glory again. So he's saying here that after this will happen, then the Christians, the Isais, they will gain prominence in Sham. they will become prominent and they will get power again in Sham. Here, there's it. And so Imran Kharab Yathrib. And they also setting their sight on Medina. I don't know if you see the plans of the greater, the Yahud, they speak about the greater Israel, etc. So what it means here is this here, that after the repopulation, reconquista of Baitul Maqdis, right, Medina will not become so prominent. It could be maybe it will fall into the hands of the non-Muslims. So it means here, he says here, when people will go to liberate Masjid al-Aqsa, they will leave from Medina to go and fight. And a result of that, Medina will become depopulated and it won't be in its former glory. Maybe it could be just mean it will lose its glory, it will lose its splendor. Or even here it says in the Shara, it means that it could be conquered by the non-Muslims. So Imranu Baitul Maqdis is the sign of Kharabu Yathrib. It could be here in a shot, it could be like immediately one after the other, or there could be a big gap between the two. So if you look at it doesn't mean that all these signs one will follow in quick succession. I mean, if you look at, Nabi Sallallahu spoke about his death, then he spoke about Mutan, then he spoke about the fitna. It took years and years, so it could be spread out over hundreds of years even. And then the next thing which he speaks about, they we discuss, وَخَرَابُ يَثْرِبُ خُرُوجُ الْمَلْحَمَةِ. Then the next thing after that is that great battle that we spoke about, right? And after that great battle, we discussed, if we've done this also, Fathu Qustantiniya, that will be the conquest of Constantinople. And then, as we done in the last hadith here, then the next major sign is what? When after Constantinople, first the false information will come, the Dajjal emerge, then eventually after that, the correct information. So this is the order here. So what we're saying here in this year, I'm telling you, reiterating, it doesn't mean it will happen in quick succession. It could happen after a while, but this is the order it will follow. At first, Baitul Maqdis will come back into the hands of the believers. Then Medina won't be like how in his glory. I thought it could mean either that, just people won't pay interest. They will all leave from there. Or it could be even conquered. The non-Muslims, they even have their eyes on it. And then after that will be the Malhama. And after the Malhama will be the conquest of Constantinople again. Can you read the next hadith?
والحمد الحكمة والحكمية وخروج الدجال في سبع.
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وعنه also narrated of Mu'adh ibn Jabal قال رسول الله الملحمة العظمى وفتح قسطنطينية وخروج الدجال في 7 أشهر رواه الترمذي Abu Dawud. We need to look at this hadith and the hadith before the next one. It says here that Rasul said that this great, so remember we told you the order, after the Malhamatul Uzma will be the reconquest of Constantinople. So he says Al-Malhamatul Uzma, then Wafatu Qustan, then the conquest of Constantinople, and then the Khuruj of Dajjal will happen in a period of 7 months. But if you look at the next riwayat,
رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال بين الملحمة وفتح المدينة 6 سنين ويخرج الدجال في 7. وقال هذا.
Yeah, see, look at this riwayat. It says, وَعَنْ عَبْدِ اللَّهِ بْنِ بُصْرٍ أَنَّ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قَالَ بَيْنَ الْمَلْحَمَةِ وَفَتْحِ الْمَدِينَةِ right 6 سنين ويخرج الدجال في 7 رواه أبو داود وقال هذا صح. Right now, Abdullah ibn Busr, he said the Rasulullah said that between this Malhamatul Kubra and then the conquest of the Medina, and obviously this refers here to Constantinople, right, is a period of Sittu Sinina, right, 6 years, and that the Dajjal will come out in the 7th. Now, if you look at the previous, right, it spoke about 6 months or 7 months, and here it's speaking about 6 years. So one explanation outwardly seemed to be a contradiction. One explanation it could be that um, you know adad is not murad. When Nabi Sallallahu said this, he didn't mean the actual number. A lot of times in Arabic is mentioned, but you see the similar incident or a different incident and a different number is mentioned. So in Arabic, they tell you kathrat. You use a adad, like I tell you how many million times did I tell you mustn't do this, but you continue doing it, right? I told you 100 times already, stop doing this, but you continue doing this. So what we're saying is adad is not murad. You don't intend the actual adad. It's just kathrat. So maybe Nabi also wanted to show that this will happen in a short space of time. So the actual adad is not murad. Um, or we can say, if you want to take it in a literal sense, then the second hadith here of Abu Dawud, it has a stronger chain of narrator. So we can say, sahu, a mistake happened by this rawi here. He got his numbers mixed up. But nevertheless, what did he say? Like we discussed earlier all the time, we said that remember this order first will be the Malahamatul Kubra that we discussed, the 12,000 flags under each one is 80,000 people. Then it will be the reconquesta, Fath al-Madina, and then it will be the emergence of Dajjal, right? Okay, carry on reading the next right? Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let's look at the next riwayat. Narrating the authority of Bismillah ar-Rahman wa ibn Umar, narrating the authority of Umar, يوشك المسلمون أن يحاصروا إلى المدينة. It is close that the Muslims, they will be besieged right till Medina, right? حتى يكون أبعد مصالحهم صلاح, until the most distant uh, frontier town will be called Salah. وصلاح قريب من خيبر, and Salah is close to Khaybar. Rawahu Abu Dawud. Abu Dawud narrates this particular riwayat. So you understood what is happening here. What is saying this here, that a time will come, يُوشِكُ الْمُسْلِمُ أَن يُحَاصَرُوا, they will be besieged right till Medina. In other words, what he's saying is that the Muslim will lose land. The Muslim will lose their land. I mentioned earlier that even the Jews are, they believe a portion of Saudi Arabia is also part of the promised Greater Israel. There was a clip also going around on social media the other day where there was a Hindu person who was saying that Makkah is an ancient Hindu temple. We need to take it back. We need to bring it under our control. Did you see that? I must send it to you. So they also eye that. There's a lot of people that got their eyes on the Holy Lands also. So anyway, so you're saying that close to Qiyamah, أَيُّحَاصَرُوا إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ, that they will lose land right till Medina. It's just coming to my mind now. Maybe it could even mean like this yet. Maybe they physically won't take control. They won't physically take control of the lands, but the leaders will be captured. They will be able to do what they want to. If you look currently in the world, in every one of the Muslim states, Jordan, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, in all of these states, there are US bases. You know that there are US soldiers on the soil. So these lands are captured in the sense that maybe there are puppet governments there, but the Americans can act with impunity. They can do as they want to. When they attacked Iran recently, they flew over Jordan, they flew over Saudi Arabia, all the type of things. So maybe it doesn't mean they physically will occupy those places, but it means that they will have control. They will to do what they want to. Their planes, their jets can fly over. So it shows you that the Muslims close to Qiyamah, they will lose control of this land. So أيحاصروا إلى المدينة, they will be besieged, they will be surrounded in Medina. حتى يكون أبعد مصالحهم صلاحنا, until the furthest frontier town will be Salah. So Salah is a place. So in other words, what he's saying is that until Salah, that will be the frontier, like the frontier town. From there beyond it will be under, from what is beyond it towards Medina will be in the control of the Muslims. What is out of that will be captured by the Kuffar, right? وَصَلَاحٌ قَرِيبٌ مِنْ خَيْبَرَ, and Salah is a place close to Khaybar. Abu Dawud narrates. I'm not sure if maybe this it still has the same name today, but Khaybar is quite a distance out of Medina. Now, last trip, alhamdulillah, we had an opportunity to go see Khaybar, but I can't remember coming across this name. But anyway, what the hadith is saying is that Muslims will lose control of their lands close to Qiyamah. Muslims will lose control. It could mean physically they will lose control, or it could mean that, as I told you, they will be captured, they will be compromised. So I told you in this hadith, Medina means Madinatul Munawwara. And this will be in the time when the Christians, they will be in dominance, right? And this will be just before the Zuhur of the Mahdi. So the Muslims, they will set up the frontier town in a place called Salah. Okay, I see. Okay, we finished the hadith. We have to start a new verse now in Ibn Kathir. Ne? Okay, let's switch over to Ibn Kathir, inshallah. Just put the same link, inshallah.